Good morning. This is X-Pulse AI Morning Mix. Today is Saturday, June 13th, 2026. We've got Apple finally making Siri feel like it belongs in this decade, OpenAI's user count hitting a jaw-dropping number, plus some government and big tech shakeups. I've got Orion with me, ready to jump in?
Ready, let's do it.
PCMag reported on June 11th that Apple unveiled a functional Siri AI and a system layer called Apple Intelligence at WWDC. What did Apple actually announce?
Two big moves. Siri becomes more capable as an assistant, and Apple Intelligence becomes an operating system level layer across iOS 27 and beyond. Apple emphasized on-device processing and privacy protections, plus developer hooks, with features expected to ship this fall.
So is this Apple catching up or changing the rules?
A bit of both. Apple's angle is distribution and trust, baking AI into the default workflows of hundreds of millions of devices. If the on-device parts feel fast and reliable, it makes assistant features feel less like a chatbot and more like a built-in utility.
Any risk in the privacy-first pitch?
The trade-off is capability versus control. On-device can be great for latency and privacy, but some tasks still want cloud-scale reasoning. The real test is whether Apple's system feels seamless when it switches between local and server processing, without users noticing the seams.
Carbon Credits on June 11th says ChatGPT has reached 1 billion users and that OpenAI is considering an IPO. What's in the report?
It claims ChatGPT is at 1 billion users and says OpenAI, valued around $852 billion after a March funding round, could consider going public, potentially pushing toward $1 trillion. The piece also raises the energy use and emissions questions that come with scaling AI infrastructure.
1 billion users is a lot of tabs. What changes if an IPO gets real?
Public markets tend to demand predictability, revenue mix, margins, and very explicit disclosure around compute costs and risk. That can accelerate partnerships and product packaging, but it can also make move fast feel more like file an SEC form fast.
Does the energy angle become a bigger storyline?
Yes, because at that scale, efficiency isn't just a technical brag, it's financially material. Better models, better chips, better data centers, and cleaner power procurement all start to look like core strategy, not corporate social responsibility.
Crypto Briefing reported on June 12th that the U.S. Defense Department reduced reliance on Anthropic after a policy dispute. What happened?
The report says a roughly $200 million engagement was partially canceled and work was reallocated to OpenAI, Google, and Microsoft under a multi-vendor approach. It also says an attempt to formally blacklist Anthropic was blocked by a judge on First Amendment grounds.
Is this mostly politics or procurement strategy?
Both. In defense deployments, vendor policy positions can become operational risk. The multi-vendor posture signals the Pentagon wants redundancy, so one company's policy shift, outage, or governance fight doesn't freeze a mission-critical program.
What should listeners watch for next?
Contract language. Expect stricter requirements around model updates, auditability, data handling, and continuity of service. Government buyers are trying to treat frontier models less like a single product and more like a supply chain.
Wired on June 12th reports internal chaos inside Meta's applied AI unit, including a recording from an Instagram all-hands. What's the gist?
Wired says the applied AI team, formed in March, is dealing with frustration and disorder, employees criticizing leadership and strategy on a broadly attended call. Executives, including Chris Cox, acknowledged it's been a difficult environment, and the concern is that it slows coordination and deployment.
How does that kind of organizational mess show up in products?
It usually shows up as uneven quality and missed timing. Duplicated efforts, unclear priorities, and models or features shipping without a coherent platform plan. When AI is everywhere, ads, ranking, assistants, misalignment becomes expensive fast.
Meta has money, talent, and data. Why is this still hard?
Because applied AI is an integration problem, not just a model problem. You're stitching research, infrastructure, safety, product, and legal into one pipeline. Even with infinite GPUs, you can't brute force a decision-making structure. Sadly, you can't buy alignment by the palette.
A few more moves worth knowing. The information on June 12th says Meta plans to restrict employee AI token usage and track it with an internal platform. What's driving that?
Cost control. The report says AI spending has ballooned into the billions, so Meta wants budgets, usage tracking, and automated alerts. That can curb runaway experimentation, but it also forces teams to be intentional. No more just try it prompts at enterprise scale.
On infrastructure and labor, Axios on June 11th says Google is putting $50 million toward training 300,000 skilled trade workers. Why is a software giant doing workforce development?
Data centers need electricians, HVAC techs, and builders as much as they need models. If the physical build-out bottlenecks, AI roadmaps stall. This is Google trying to de-risk the we can't hire enough people to wire the future problem.
Meanwhile, in Europe, the tech portal on June 12th says Mistral AI is in talks for about 3 billion euros, valuing it near 20 billion euros. Quick reminder, what's Mistral's lane?
Mistral is a Paris-based model company known for open weight releases alongside enterprise deployments, often positioned around privacy and localized infrastructure. A 3 billion euro raise at a 20 billion euro valuation would signal continued investor appetite for non-US frontier contenders.
And CNBC on June 12th tied a delay in a Google AI project to a chip sell-off, while Yahoo Finance also, June 12th, says the top 1% of companies spend about $7,449 per employee per month on AI. What connects these?
Expectations. When a big buyer like Google slips, the market wobbles. And that $7,449 figure shows how concentrated spend is. Leaders are operationalizing hard, while everyone else is still piloting. The gap between AI as a budget line and AI as the business is widening.
That's XPulse AI Morning Mix from XPulse for Saturday, June 13th, 2026. If this helped, share it with a friend or a teammate. See you next time.